I've seen too many people go for the cheap point-and-shoot deals that promise a DSLR experience, only to end up frustrated when the autofocus stalls in the park, or the low-light images look like grainy messes. That regret can feel even worse when you've already spent the weekend hunting down a shot that never materializes. So the question is, does the Nikon D300DX feel like a smarter buy than those budget shortcuts? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The D300 sits in a weird sweet spot. It's not a brand new flagship, but it's also not a relic you'd only buy for nostalgia. It's a 12.3 megapixel DSLR built on a magnesium alloy body, which gives it the rugged feel you expect from a prosumer camera, without the price tag of a current generation flagship. The X-Speed image processing engine and the 51-point autofocus system were a big step up when this model launched, and they still hold up well enough for hobbyists who want reliable focus tracking in real-world situations. Think shooting a soccer game, where the kids are constantly moving, or capturing street scenes, where you need to lock focus quickly on a passerby's face. One of the first things I looked at was how the camera behaves in low light. The D300 sensor, paired with the X-Speed processor, can produce clean 12-megapixel files up to ISO 800, and you'll still get usable detail at ISO 1600 if you're willing to accept a little extra noise. For someone who regularly shoots indoor events, wedding receptions, or evening concerts, that performance is a noticeable upgrade from the 5-megapixel compacts that start to wash out past ISO 400. In practice, I found the noise to be manageable when I applied a modest amount of post-processing, and the dynamic range is enough to rescue highlights without flattening the image. If you're planning to print large-format posters, the 12-megapixel resolution is more than sufficient. You'll see crisp detail when you pull a 24-36-inch print from a well-exposed shot. Autofocus confidence is another area where the D300 shows its age but still delivers. The 51-point AF array is spread across the frame, which means you can compose off-center subjects without hunting for focus points. In sports or wildlife situations, the cross-type sensors in the central cluster give you that extra precision that many entry-level bodies lack. I tried it on a local track meet, and while the focus wasn't as snappy as a modern mirrorless with on-sensor phase detection, the camera kept up with a sprinting runner when I used the continuous focus mode. The downside? There's no on-sensor focus point overlay in LiveView, so you have to rely on the viewfinder, or the older-looking LCD, which can be a little slower to react when you're trying to track fast movement. Speaking of the LCD, the D300 offers a 3-inch LiveView screen that's functional, but not spectacular. The resolution is modest, and the screen isn't articulated, which limits your ability to shoot from low angles or over crowds. However, the LiveView does let you focus manually with the 51-point system displayed as a simple grid, which is handy for macro work where you want absolute control. If you're the kind of photographer who spends hours setting up a shot on a tripod, the lack of a tilt-and-swivel screen isn't a deal-breaker. But if you need quick framing from odd angles, you'll feel the limitation. Battery confidence is an often overlooked factor, and the D300 shines here. It uses the ENEL3E battery, which, even by today's standards, can push roughly 1,200 shots on a single charge if you keep the LCD usage moderate. I ran through a full day of wedding coverage shooting in burst mode, checking images on the back, and swapping lenses a few times, and still had enough juice left for the evening ceremony. That kind of stamina means you won't be stuck hunting for a spare battery when the clock is ticking. Now, let's talk lenses. The D300 is a DX format body, so it pairs with Nikon's crop sensor lenses, which are generally cheaper and lighter than the full-frame FX options. The Nikon lens ecosystem is huge, and you can find a 50mm f1.8 for under $150, a 70,300mm telephoto for around $350, and a whole range of fast primes that will give you the shallow depth of field you might crave. Because the D300 lacks any built-in image stabilization, you'll lean on lenses that have VR, vibration reduction, if you plan to shoot handheld in low light. That's not a huge obstacle. The market is saturated with VR lenses, but it does at a small cost consideration for those who want the extra shake reduction without buying a newer body that includes it. Who should consider buying this camera? If you're a serious hobbyist who already owns a few Nikon lenses and wants a robust body that can handle bursts of 100 shots at full resolution, the D300 is a sensible step up. It's also a solid entry point for aspiring documentary shooters who need reliable autofocus and decent low-light performance, but aren't ready to invest in a high-end mirrorless system. The camera's durability makes it